Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my yearly roundup, my best in beauty, and I love filming this video every single year. I look forward to it, just going through all the makeup that I've been using more than others in different categories, just figuring out what worked best for me this year. A lot of things were releases this year, though not necessarily everything came out this year, though the majority of stuff did actually. But a lot of things have been out for a while. I just discovered it this year. So we're going to jump right into this video. Waste no time at all because I have a ton of products over here that I'm looking at that I gotta get through. So I'm gonna try and go in order of how I put it on my face, and then I have some brushes, tools, and random beauty products that I'm going to save for the end of this video. So I'm just gonna go ahead, start off with my primer and prepping products for the face. My number one priming product is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, which I discovered this year. And this is a moisturizer, though I don't use it as a traditional moisturizer. This isn't the only thing I use. I do my skincare in the morning, which someone asked me about my skincare, and all of that in my skincare video is still my favorite products. So if you want to go over there and check out the things that I love, I have them all in that video, and that's still my favorites. The Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream is such an amazing primer prior to doing your makeup, and I have it on today. I used all my favorite products today to create this look so that you can see them in action, but this is what I used underneath my foundation, which you won't find out until Tuesday because I have to do a whole video on foundation. That's the one thing that I tried more than anything this year is foundation, and you guys know from all my foundation reviews that there were a lot, and I have to narrow it down to my top 5. So I'm going to do a top 5 video for you guys. Strictly foundation, because that deserves its own video. I wouldn't just use this as my moisturizer. I still love my Belief moisturizer, but this is so nice for prepping the skin because I do also find that it smooths out my skin as well. So not only is it great for prolonging my foundation and making it look a little bit better, I feel, but it also has a smoothing effect. So really love that. Super pricey, but it's 100% worth it to me. And then for traditional smoothing type pore filling primers, because I do have some pore issues on my nose. The first product that I used at the beginning of the year, which I actually replaced with something else, and this is the Shiseido Ibuki Smart Filtering Smoother. I still like this and reach for it and use it, but once the Fenty line released, the Fenty Beauty Primer, I love this for smoothing out my skin. I can't use this all over my face. It's a little too mattifying for me because I do have normal to dry skin, but this is so good for smoothing my skin, so I love this in my T-zone area. So the Fenty Beauty Primer, absolutely amazing. As I said, foundation, I'm saving for a whole separate video, so if you want to know my top foundation, which I'm wearing on my face today, you'll have to wait for that video. It took a while for me to decide what my favorite was, but I'm wearing it right now. So you have to wait till Tuesday. Then for concealer, I have 3 to mention to you guys. I do have a number 1 favorite concealer, but I have a couple honorable mentions that I want to let you guys know. And my absolute favorite concealer of the year, what I'm wearing today, is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I have it in 3 shades because I need it for every single stage if I'm self-tan or not. Right now I have 0 self-tan on. When I'm my natural skin color, I like to use light 2.5 creme brulee. And then when my tan is fading, I use custard, and then when I'm freshly tan, I use ginger. So those are my favorite concealers for underneath my eyes. I don't typically use concealer on my face. It's just for under eye. And that NARS one is full coverage, and it's super thin. It's a beautiful formula. I used to really love the NARS Radiant Creamy, which I still do if I want something more dewy, but the soft matte, it won this year for me, which surprises me, but anything with a soft matte finish is the finish that I personally gravitate towards. As of recently is a soft matte. It's my absolute favorite, which that has. For a light coverage concealer, more like an everyday concealer if I'm doing something lighter, I love the Benefit Boing Airbrush Concealer, which released this year. I have shade number 2. I can make it work whether I have a tan or not. So this is really great for brightening my under eye, I feel, and it's nice and thin. I love potted concealers like this. And then I also had to mention this one is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. And I have a love-hate with this. Sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes I do feel like it's too much for underneath my eye. So I always gravitate towards my NARS Soft Matte. But For the Tarte Shape Tape, I actually really love this for priming my lid. I use this underneath my eyes as well, but for priming my lid and for doing cut creases like I did today, like a soft cut crease, I like to use this. And I have this in 3 shades as well, so you know, it's a love for me when I do buy multiple colors. Most often I'm using light medium, and then I have fair and light. Fair I like to use for cut creases or priming my lid, or light, but I do find the lightest shade to really make my shadows pop, so that's why I reach for fair. So I have a bunch of powders next to me to talk about. I have some translucent loose and pressed, and then I have some colored powders that I wanted to mention. And if you've been following me this year, I think you'll be able to guess a lot of these. For my favorite loose setting powder for baking or anything like that, I love the Too Faced Born This Way. This is the ethereal setting powder. This one takes the cake for me for loose setting powder. I tried so many this year, but this is definitely my favorite. I love the color of this. It's not, I don't feel like this is translucent. It has a beige tint to it, which is really nice for brightening. It's not like a banana powder, which is too yellow, but it definitely has a color to it and a luminosity that I feel like plays really nicely with the skin, not making it too flat. So that's why I've been reaching for that. And then for pore smoothing greatness, this is so amazing. It is the Fenty Beauty Universal Invisimatte Blotting Powder, and I have this underneath my eyes today. I also have it on the sides of my nose where I have pore issues, and just in my T-zone to set everything. And this makes my face look so nice and flawless and poreless, which is the #1 thing I need for a powder, is to make it look really smooth, which the Too Faced does a great job as well, but this one I feel like is the best if you have pore issue. And you can take this around to blot, which it's intended for. I bought the brush to go along with it, which I really like and use to set my face today, just in the places I need it and underneath my eyes, and it just gives a beautiful smoothing effect. For colored pressed powders, I have 2 to mention. The MAC Next to Nothing is my favorite pressed powder, and that released this year. And then I discovered the Charlotte Tilbury, which I was using prior to this one, and I still use both, but if I had to pick, I would pick the MAC Next to Nothing, even though this is an amazing, amazing powder. I hit pan on both of these powders. As you can see, I pretty much have the exact same amount in both because I kind of switch up between the two. I really do love both of these powders and reach for them both equally. I do like the formulation of the MAC one though better, I have to say, because I did also get 2 other powders in the MAC one. I have Deep Dark, which I use to bronze up my skin. It's an amazing, amazing bronzer. And then I also have Light to brighten up underneath my eyes. So I do use Medium Plus the most though, if I had to pick one shade, but I do use it for brightening, for overall setting, and for bronzing up the skin. So that was definitely my favorite colored pressed powder of the year. For blush, this came easy to me this year. Makeup Forever released a bunch of powders. They released highlighters, contour powders, and a ton of blushes. And this is definitely my favorite formula in blushes that released this year. So I do absolutely love this blush formula. I'm more of a bronzer girl than a blush girl if I were to choose. A lot of times I actually skip out on blush, but I am wearing this shade today on my cheeks, and if I had to pick a favorite blush, it would definitely be the Makeup Forever that released this year. And then this was easy for me, even though I use bronzer so much, and bronzer is like my favorite thing in makeup, which is, I feel like, a little bit strange because there's so many more fun things out there like lip colors and things like that, but I like bronzer, and this is definitely my favorite one, and it's from Marc Jacobs. It is the limited edition one in their coconut collection that came out over the summer, and it's in Tan-Tastic. It's the perfect bronzer color in my opinion. It's not too warm, not too cool. It's like a neutral bronzer. I have it on today and I use it to bronze up my face, to contour my face. The formulation is beautiful. There's so much product in this, and you think it's pricey because of how much it costs. You're like, whoa, that's an expensive bronzer, but you get so much grams in this that it's worth it, and it's a beautiful bronzer. I love how thin it is, and even though this was limited edition, I saw that they'll be re-releasing it and adding more products this summer for their coconut collection. They're kind of extending it. So this will be coming back, and when it does, you guys, you have to pick it up because I'm going to be picking up a backup of it because it's my favorite bronzer. Love it. And then I also end up picking up the permanent one after. This always goes in and out of stock on Sephora, I find, and this is in Tantric. I love this as well, but this is definitely more warm, and as much as I like warm bronzer, I just prefer more neutral color like the limited edition one, but I do still love this and think it's 100% worth it. You get so much product in it. The color formulation is beautiful, but I had to say the limited edition one is definitely my favorite. I had a really hard time limiting the highlighters that I was going to mention, so I'm just mentioning all of them because I do have honorable mentions, even though I'd have to say if I had to pick one highlight was this limited edition Hourglass palette, which is their ambient metallic strobe lighting palette. And this is so beautiful. I mix all the shades together to get my perfect highlight, and I think they still have this, but it is marketed as a limited edition product. This is nothing like the formulation of their original diffusing highlighters. These are metallic. These are intense. This is a beautiful formula. They don't look glittery, chunky, anything. They sit so nicely on the skin but give you that really in-your-face highlight. And I'm not wearing that one today. I am wearing another favorite of mine, which I wanted to mention. I can't even close it because this is smashed. This is the Maybelline Master Chrome Metallic Highlighter. It's the Molten Gold one. I have that mixed with the highlighter in this palette, and I recommend both of these from the drugstore. I've been using them so much. I feel like this is a little hidden gem, especially this palette. I love the contour shade. It's nice and cool. The blush is really pretty, though I'm not a blush person, as I said, but it's still really nice. And they have that highlight shade, which I mixed with the Molten Gold, and the formulation and the pigment in these highlighters is amazing. If you haven't picked up either of these, you gotta check those out. Those were definitely my favorite drugstore highlight, and in general just highlight because I'm mentioning them. And another beautiful release for highlighters were the Dose Colors highlighters in collaboration with Desi and Katy here on YouTube. We have Fuego and Mirame, and I actually really like Mirame better. I'm wearing Fuego on my lids right now as the main color. Mirame is surprisingly my favorite of the two, even though I go for more gold tones like Fuego more often. This gives you that wet look, super intense, not chunky or glittery or anything like that. I love the wet look to a highlight, but really nice and intense. In terms of unique highlights, and something that definitely had to be mentioned for me is the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt highlighters. I'm mentioning so much Fenty, as you guys are going to see, but this one in Trophy Wife, this is amazing. It is glittery though, so if you don't like glittery highlight, which I don't reach for that often, this is still so beautiful. So for me to even mention something with this kind of really intense glittery finish, this kind of color is saying a lot. And I think I actually can pull this off on my cheeks, even though I didn't think I would be able to. But it's also really beautiful as a lid color as well. And I definitely think this is the most unique highlighter that came out this year. And I had to mention it because I love them so much. I picked up a bunch of other ones from the Fenty collection as well. So I have a bunch of these. I do really like the formulation of them. I like that in these duos you get a nice subtle highlight, and then you can amp it up with the really intense one that's in there. Though they are a little bit more glittery to my preferred type of finish, I still love these. So I had to mention these in this video as well. My favorite setting spray of the year is the Glam Glow Glow Setter. I love how this sprays. It's super fine and soft on the face. It smells amazing. It works really well. So I can't say any bad things about this. This is what I've been using the most this year, so I had to give that a mention. And now moving on to eyes, which I tried to limit this down as well. I feel like this was the year of the palette, the eyeshadow palette. So I only am mentioning two, but you'll see. For mascara, this was an easy no-brainer for me. I have three that I wanted to mention, and my number one mascara of this year is hands down the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise mascara. You guys will know this. I've gone through multiple tubes of this year. It's amazing. And then for a priming base product, this Maybelline Big Shot Colossal Tinted Primer. It's so good. I wear this on its own, or I wear this underneath mascara. It gives you a feathery, beautiful, natural effect to the eyes. 110% recommend. Those two are amazing, both from the drugstore, and another drugstore one that I had to mention is my favorite for lower lashes, and it's the Annabelle Skinny Mascara, which came out this year as well. The wand on this is unlike anything that I've ever used. It's so small and long. It's perfect for the lower lashes, and I had to mention it. It's really, really good. This year I feel like was the year of the palette. As I said, there's so many amazing palettes. This was extremely hard, but also kind of easy for me to narrow it down. It was like I wanted to mention either one, or I wanted to mention like 10. So I narrowed it down to this one, and it's from Natasha Denona. If I had to pick one, it'd actually be this limited edition one, which came out for the holiday season. I believe these are still available, but this is the 02 Heiress palette. And I love every single shade in this palette. The blue, surprisingly, even though I don't wear a lot of color, is my favorite eyeshadow ever. It is so beautiful. I did a whole look on it because it's so stunning. It's captivating. It's just, like, I could stare at this color. As a makeup addict, it's just like, there's something about it that just, I love. I can't describe it. But I discovered Natasha Denona eyeshadows this year. After avoiding buying them for a very long time because they are pricey, I took the plunge and purchased the Sunset palette when it came out this year, and it's so good, you guys. I'm wearing it on my eyes today, and it's the perfect warm tone color palette. The formulation, you just need to lightly dip your brush into these and you get extreme color payoff. They don't blend into nothing. They hold their own. They're super blendable. The pigmentation is amazing. Other than the price, and there's nothing bad I would say about these. These are fantastic. 100% worth it to me. And Natasha Denona for eyeshadows, there's nothing better for me. Nothing. This is a little bit random, but not really. I wanted to mention just this palette that's from Tarte. I love this. I use this for my everyday eyeshadows. I'm missing my nylon right now because I was using it for something else. But I put my everyday favorite colors in here, and the camo packaging, I love it. It's easy to clean. It's the perfect size. I think this is around $13 on the Tarte website, but I had to mention this just for a palette. I love it. It's so beautiful. And they still have those, so definitely go check those out. I believe these are limited edition as well, but they're still available. And then I wanted to mention two lashes. I went through all my lashes and tried to pick out two of my favorites. Recently, I've fallen in love with the Uemura lashes, which I mentioned in my most recent video of my update of where I've been. And then my favorite lashes of the year have to be the Lily lashes in Mykonos. And they now have faux mink, which are my absolute favorite. So the faux mink Mykonos lashes from Lily Lashes are hands down my favorite, and I'm wearing them today on my eyes. I think they just are the most flattering for my eye shape. I love how fluffy they are and spaced out. They're just a beautiful lash, and I just think they're the most flattering on my eye shape, so that's why they're my favorite. For lip product, it was another case of I wanted to mention like 20 or narrow it down to these ones. So I tried to keep it minimal. There was no lip pencils, I believe, this year that kind of blew me away, but I wanted to mention my Jouer Essential Lip Enhancer. I hear my kids playing downstairs screaming. If you can hear that, my apologies. They sound like they're having a good time. We're just gonna have to go with it. Doesn't sound like they're letting up anytime soon. So my favorite lip conditioning product is the Jouer Essential Lip Enhancer. This changed my lips completely. I had really liney lips. This just plumped them up, and you don't feel any kind of tingling like a lip plumping product or anything like that. It just naturally plumps up your lips and it conditions them. This says it's loaded with clinically proven ingredients to increase the fullness of your lips while decreasing fine lines. For softer, fuller lips, apply 3 times daily for 29 days. I didn't do 3 times daily for 29 days. I used it maybe once a day prior to makeup, and it did everything it said for me. So I have backups upon backups of this. I went through a bunch this year. Hands down favorite. And then for my lip color of the year is Dosicolor's Sand. I don't think this came out this year, but I've been using it so much this year I had to mention it. It's a liquid lip color. It's what I have on my lips right now. It's my perfect nude. It's long wearing. The Dosicolor's formula is so amazing. I love their products. And then I narrowed it down to 2 glosses for me. I have the Sephora Outrageous Plump Effect Lip Gloss in 02, the nude one. I've mentioned this 1,000,001 times on my channel. And this does have that plumping effect to your lips, but it's so beautiful. Not wearing it right now, I just have a matte lip on, but this is by far my hands down favorite gloss ever. Not just this year, but ever. I love it. And then I also had to mention the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb, which I'm surprised by looking at this. I wouldn't think this is a color that I would gravitate towards, to be honest, because I thought it was too rosy, which I don't personally prefer. There's something about this color. Absolutely everyone I've seen wear this, it looks phenomenal on them. So this is one of those products I feel like absolutely anyone can use, and it looks amazing on every single person, and I just love it. It's a little bit sheer, but it has some sparkle in it that really makes your lips look plump. I like this on top. I like this alone. It's just so nice. And I had so much Fenty Beauty this year, which is crazy. That launch was #1 for me. Absolutely hands down. I don't even have to think about that. That was my #1 launch of the year, was the original Fenty Beauty. Everything in that line I love and became favorites, holy grail products, which is insane to me that so many products from one launch made it into my favorites. So I wanted to mention some brushes apart from my Luxie brushes, which I didn't even want to go into because you guys know that I love my synthetic Luxie brushes, and I pretty much bought every single one, but it was mostly in 2016, so I didn't want to push it into this year, but I still use and love my Luxie brushes. But these are the ones that I wanted to mention for 2017. So we have the Tom Ford No. 5 bronzing brush, which is expensive, it's pricey, but it's the best bronzer brush. Big, huge powder brush I've ever used. It's so soft, applies bronzer so beautifully, and I wasn't able to use it today because it was dirty. And then I pretty recently, got this IT Cosmetics powder brush. It's their Heavenly Luxe No. 3 Jumbo Powder. It's great if you want to quickly set your face. So that's another great brush. And then one more face brush that I wanted to mention is the Sephora Pro Highlight No. 98. Favorite highlight brush. I discovered the Pro brushes from Sephora this year. I had more to mention, but I just wanted to mention my absolute favorites, which is the highlight brush, and then 2 eyeshadow brushes, which number 41, the Pro Drawing Shadow, which is great for cut creases if you just want like a little bit of color above the cut crease for blending. Such a good brush. And then the Pro Drawing Blending 42, which is a big fluffy crease brush, my favorite big brush for the crease. And it's tapered slightly. It's so good because it gets right in the crease, but it's big enough to really blend and buff everything out. This is the smaller version of this one, I would say, but these two are definitely a staple for brushes for me. When they're dirty, my makeup doesn't turn out as good. I love them so much. And then I have my Smith Cosmetics brushes, which I picked up their Quill ones this year. I have the 235, 247, and 230. I believe I have another one, but it's gotten away on me somehow. I love Smith Cosmetics. I want to dive into more of their brushes, but I picked up their blending brushes, which were really popular, and I can see why. They're beautiful brushes. And I had to mention those Smith ones. And then the Super Mario collection with Uemura, I had to mention their eyelash curler. It's an iconic eyelash curler, which I love, but they made this gold one with a super cute Super Mario charm on it, and I'm a huge Mario fan, if you guys didn't know, which I'm sure you do. But I had to mention that guy because it's like a collector's piece for me. I never want this to die on me. It's so nice. And then, favorite perfume of the year, which you guys knew was coming, is the YSL Mon Peri. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. You guys know I love it. It's fruity, it's floral, it's feminine. This fragrance I get the most compliments on when I wear it. There's something about it. It's just so good. Then the absolute last thing I wanted to mention are some hair care products that are in my shower right now. I've been using the Kerastase Chronologies line. I have the 4 products that are in the line, and I swear by them for my hair. I don't feel like I have to use many products in my hair when I use those, and they just make my hair healthy, shiny, smells amazing. Literally the best smell ever for hair. It's like a perfume for your hair, that collection, and I love it. They need to make that scent in a perfume because I would totally just wear that. It would probably replace my YSL Mon Peri if they had that in a fragrance for me. But I had to mention that because I fell in love with that collection so much this year for the hair. And I'm not a huge hair person. I admit I don't get into hair too often, but I love that line for washing my hair. So that is everything for my favorite products of 2017. I know there was a lot to get through, but looking at this pile of products, it makes me happy. Like, I'm proud of these products. It's like, you did good this year. So let me know what your favorite products were from 2017. Thank you guys for all the support this year. I can't wait for 2018 to see what it brings us. You guys have been my rock. I love you so much. And I believe it's New Year's Eve now that you guys are going to be watching this. So happy New Year's Eve. Be safe out there if you're going to be celebrating. And if you're watching this on New Year's Day, Happy New Year. Don't forget to let me know what you've been loving this year. If any of the products that I have were your favorites as well. And hands down, Fenty Beauty for me. Release of the year for sure, 100%. Thank you all for an amazing 2017, and I will see you next year. Had to use that on Tuesday for my wrap up of my 2017 foundations. It's going to be a good video. I had so many that I love, and I can't wait for you guys to see that on Tuesday. So I'll see you back in 2018.